Today we're announcing the global rollout of the new PayPal checkout that has smart payment button technology embedded in it. And what that's really doing is making it such that businesses of all sizes around the world are able to easily connect with consumers no matter how they want to pay, which is quite a meaningful thing given that around the world there are many different local payment methods. Digital wallets like PayPal, One Touch, Venmo, and others are increasingly important to consumers. And we're making it such that merchants can access all the ways a consumer would want to pay, or the best ways a consumer would want to pay, with just a few lines of code so that they can really make sure that they're getting the very best digital commerce capabilities no matter where they're selling around the world or what size business they are.
Is this anything like what Stripe is? Is that the biggest competitor for this particular element of the product?
PayPal is really quite different than anything else in the market in that we are on both the consumer and merchant side of the payment ecosystem. So, we're able to bring 250 million plus users to the equation. That's one of the things that this new product includes is our PayPal marketing solutions, which really opens up the ability for a merchant to connect with consumers. Because we operate as a consumer product as well as a merchant product, we're able to help those merchants gain insights into consumers, of course, in an anonymized, aggregated way, but they can connect more deeply with those consumers so that they're able to offer not only the most relevant payment methods, but understand the shoppers that are coming to their site and are better equipped to turn those shoppers into buyers. And you really can't do that unless you operate on both the consumer and merchant side of the payments ecosystem.
Who has signed up thus far?
Well, so we're seeing this from small businesses all the way to some of the largest retailers in the world, and so this really is running across the spectrum. Again, because it's giving access to not only the best of our payment capabilities like One Touch and Pay with Venmo, but also locally relevant payment methods around the world and access to our 250 million plus users. So we're seeing great response from merchants of all sizes.
And this button is it connected to my PayPal account or also to Venmo, or a combination of everything that's related? How does it work?
With a few simple lines of code, a merchant is able to offer all of those, and importantly, we dynamically render whatever is most relevant to the consumer, whether that's a PayPal payment method or some other payment method that might be relevant to that user. So I think that's one of the big pieces of complexity that we're solving for the merchant, is that if you're an average merchant, understanding how people want to pay in markets around the world, what's relevant to each given user is going to be a really hard thing to solve. And you can't have 50 different buttons on your checkout. It's just going to confuse people and drive conversion down. We're able to solve that for the merchant and understand, based on our knowledge of hundreds of millions of consumers, what's the most relevant way a consumer is going to want to pay. So we show the most relevant payment method for the right consumer at the right moment in time, really solving that complexity for the merchant.
Hey, Bill, this is just how to think about PayPal these days, because I think that people struggle in some ways to put PayPal in a particular bucket. When you guys sit around on a Monday morning and maybe with a whiteboard talk about your competitors today, who would they be, and how do you think about them?
That's the really interesting thing about us, is that we are quite unique in that we're the only player that operates on both the consumer and merchant side of the payments ecosystem and is able to connect the experience end to end and do so at scale around the globe. That makes us really unique. So on the one hand, you could say there are many people that do some aspect of what we do, and you could call them competitors. At the same time, we've demonstrated that we can partner closely with the rest of the ecosystem. We've done 30-plus partnerships over the last couple of years with major card networks, with major banks, with the largest tech platforms out there, with Google and Facebook and Apple and others. And so we can be a great partner to the entire ecosystem, because what we're uniquely able to do is to connect buyers and sellers into new commerce experiences. And that's something that a wide range of players want to be able to do. And we've demonstrated that we can partner across the ecosystem to help bring more digital commerce enablement.
Hey, Bill, one last question, because we were talking about iOS 12 today. What do you think about Apple Pay? Has Apple Pay had the success that you would have imagined?
Well, I can't comment on others, but what I can say is that PayPal as a payment method continues to gain tremendously. We're growing at our last quarterly results were 27% plus growth rate, which is much higher than the rate of e-commerce growth overall. So we're gaining market share at quite a rapid rate, even on a very large denominator.
Right.
I think what you're seeing really is the rise of the digital wallet as the preferred way for consumers to pay. And we're powering not only PayPal and Venmo and PayPal Credit as great means of payment, but we're one of the largest providers of other digital wallets as well. So for example, Apple Pay, Google Pay, we are one of the largest providers of those payment methods as well. So there's a pretty good chance if you were to pay with one of those at an app or on a website, pretty good likelihood that that was being provided by us as well.
Thank you. We got to go. By the way, Bitcoin, lover or hater?
I think there's a lot of opportunity in the technology, but I think it's still early days.